Hey everybody, this is Mars. So, we're going to go over some heroes today. We got a whole bunch of new heroes. Not a whole bunch, actually, just 3. But we're going to go over them and compare them to maybe some of their counterparts and see if we may want to try and switch this up. We're going to talk about which skills would probably fit them best, what situations would suit them. And, one thing I want to hit on before we start going through these heroes is you got to know what your ability is to be able to get the shards for these heroes. So we need to look at that and really think about, okay, do I have to spend to get this hero? At what rate will I be able to get this hero? Because otherwise, you're just focusing in on a hero that you're never going to fully get to its highest potential. So that is one thing that I really want you guys to realize and know your limitations. Like me, there's certain heroes I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to get this hero until I get to a certain point. Or I have to really save every single one of my orange shards to be able to get this hero. And that's something that I have to do. So that is something that I want to just drill into everyone's head, is to say, okay, this hero is super awesome, but it's not super awesome for me. Why? Because I can't run it at a 2-star or even a 3-star. It's just not good enough at that point. That's just a reality for some of us. But Rise of Kings has become pretty good at giving us events and other ways to gain some of these heroes. We just have to really look for them and pay attention to how we can do that. Right at this moment, I haven't seen any events that are going to include these heroes or packs, but that could be coming in the future. So let's dig into this and let's see what we find. So this is the first hero that we're looking at here. She is essentially the Faceless Knight, but for cavalry. So she has the attack bonus, she has the HP bonus, and then she has a cherry on top. And that cherry is frickin' sweet. So it's not actually just one cherry, it's 2 cherries. Now, what I'm talking about is you get a 30% chance to ignore enemies' defense when attacking. Sweet. That is awesome. And some people don't see this, but there's a semicolon there. And that's saying that, okay, now there's another ability. And that says, increase the chance of critical strikes by mounted archers. So that's really great. I don't use a lot of mounted archers for, battles and whatnot. I usually use them for hunting monsters and whatnot, but still really, really useful. I think that this hero is pretty dang great. Now, I was able to get her just off of a free summons, not an advanced summons, just a regular summons, and I got lucky, and I hit a full summons of her, and that was really sweet. And I really would enjoy it if I was able to get more shards to her and get her up to 80 sometime in the next month or 2. If not, it is what it is. Fortunately for me, I can do without, but I prefer not to. I don't really attach any skills or anything until a hero is at least 100. So that is something that I personally do just because I don't want to be throwing around 1,000 gems just to attach and unattach skills that I find very useful. So they actually kind of show you what they think the skills should be for her. And here it is. So they suggest Root Out, which is a terrible, terrible skill. I'm telling you again, don't use it. Commander, Rush Attack, Cavalry Attack, and then the Defense and HP. So those are all pretty like, duh. Yeah. I mean, I want to put my Commander on the hero that I'm going to use the most. So here's my thought on Commander. You're increasing the amount of troops in your dispatch. So now you have more troops that are using your stats, which is essentially upping your damage, more troops to use the stats that you already have, and you're going to be spreading more HP across that front line. So I think Commander is one of the most useful skills in all of Rise of Kings. So that is something that I would invest in, is the Commander skill book, and then work on the Cavalry Attack is huge. So that's something that I would focus on this hero. I think that if you're just starting and you get this hero, do it. Get it up to 60, get it up to 80, be using it. I think that this hero is really, really great. Oh boy, we got the tank. Man, oh man, that guy is massive. He is just an HP machine. And at first, I was a little hesitant on him. I'm like, HP, we already have Ren, and why do I really need this? Well, first of all, I'm having a really hard time with this particular hero because my mind says this hero is really good. HP is the most important stat. But at the same time, I'm like, I really, really want to push towards that 450% attack bonus. And so my head is like fighting with itself in here. But here's the deal. Don't let those things fog your decisions when it comes to heroes. This hero is just straight up good. If you look at his just HP buff, it just increases the HP of your infantry by a lot. And then for every 1,000 infantry in your dispatch, it'll decrease the damage that you receive by 0.25% up to 25%. So if you pretty much send a full dispatch, you're going to be near 25% of the damage that's received is just not going to happen. So that means that you're going to be saving a ton of troops because your HP's higher and you're receiving less damage. Now, Rise of Kings does a very good job of not letting us know how the combat system works, but there's certain things that they'll hint at, and there's certain things that you can just kind of devise from the battles that happen and looking at the reports. So one of the things I remember they sent back to me when I was questioning them, pestering them every day for a long time, is they say the battle isn't done until the quota of dead or a time lapse is done. So one of the ways that a battle ends is a certain amount of troops are dead. That is what I took away from what they said to me. I don't think it's quite like that, but the theory is the same. You will fight longer the less dead you have. So, you're increasing kills because you can fight longer because your guys aren't dying. Second, you're taking less losses because you just have more HP and you're taking less damage. So, yes, is your attack bonus going to take a hit? Yes. But in the long run, are you losing out very much on what this hero is giving you? No. You're not missing out on a ton. In fact, there's times when I would run this over several different heroes. I wouldn't run this over Faceless. Faceless is just probably the best hero in the game. I hesitated there for a second. I think there's one thing that I see in all the top castles, and they almost all run Faceless. And that's just because it has two really important stats, which is attack and the HP. So, but this guy, he's really good. He's one of those guys I could see someone running, with a Faceless Knight. So, guys, if you get the shards for this, build it up. It's super good. Now, I personally don't think that you need to pile on the HP on this particular guy, but you could just be like, this is my tank. I'm going to run him along my best infantry hero, and I'm going to just make him a health machine. And you can do that, and that's not a bad way of doing it. At the same time, you run attack bonuses, and I wouldn't go with defense, but you could go with all kinds of different selections. You could go with sorcery, you could go with just any infantry skill could go well with this guy. I would attack into large castles, like with high power, at the max power that you feel comfortable attacking into, and saying, I won't lose my whole dispatch to this castle attacking it this way. I would run him in there because you need that extra HP when you're attacking into that much power. So that's my thoughts on this guy. I think he's really awesome, and the only reason why you're seeing so much hesitant talking when I talk about this guy is because he's so close to being so incredibly good. He is really, really good. And if you get shards for him, use him, utilize him, he'll do a lot for you. Alright guys, this hero is straight up good. And the thing that he's really good at is being a really well-rounded cavalry hero. Now, I don't know how hard it will be to get him. I assume it will be very hard, so I don't know without spinning if you'll be able to get this particular hero, but if you're able to get shards for him, he's pretty dang good. Now, he's not going to boost your guys' stats. Like, he's not going to give you the 60 to 50% bonus. If you look here, he gives you a 35% bonus to attack, defense, and HP. That's the key. He gives you the bonus for all three. That's huge. That's huge. And then he has that kicker on there where you get 1,000 for every 1,000 cavalry in your dispatch, increase the damage up to 10%. So, damage is not as good as just boosting your stats. Although it is not much worse than boosting your stats. It's just slightly less good. There's a lot of damage reducer abilities and other things out there, and it doesn't take down the amount of HP that you would like. But solid hero. Really, really good hero. I actually prefer the Faceless Knight Cavalry hero that we looked at earlier, but this guy is just straight up good. I can't really say much more than that. Use regular skills you would use for cavalry. You're talking about, the attack, defense, and HP bonuses are all good choices. Commander, if you get him up to 100 or higher, use the commander. I can't say it enough. Only put commander on really high units, on really high heroes, because you really need that dispatch to be as large as you can get. And so if you have a 120 hero that you actually use in battle, that should probably be on that hero. So that's what I got for that. We're going to review some of the other heroes and see if there's heroes that we may want to refocus on and try and switch out for the new heroes. Alright guys, well, we got Dolan, Ren. Okay, those are your two of the big tournament shard heroes. Both of them are really good at what they do. Ren, he has the defense and HP, which is pretty awesome. Dolan is straight up attack. Both of these heroes are really solid choices. I can't really say to go one way or the other. If you want to just try and max out your stats when it comes to attacking, go with Dolan. If you want to be able to keep more of your troops when you attack and be able to hit over and over and over again, go with Ren. That's just my opinion. I can't say I'm right or wrong. I've noticed a lot of players switched away from Ren to Dolan that are using the T11 troops. I think that's just because their HPs are so much higher than typically the people they're attacking that they don't really need the extra HP. But I can't say one way or the other which of these heroes is better. They're pretty much even in my book. I think it really comes down to preference. So, let's see. Let's talk about this hero. Now, she is alright. I'm not the biggest fan of her, but I needed a backup cavalry hero to go with Dackle when I want to run full cavalry dispatches. So let's look at her real quick. So with how I have her right now, she has a 20% attack and defense bonus for cavalry. If I had the new cavalry hero, the one that's almost exactly like Faceless Knight, but with a kicker, I'd switch it out in a heartbeat. So, but until I get that one up to a comparative level, I'll be using her until then. And as you notice, I'm using the rush attack and the defense on there. Now, I don't have the defense on my Dackle. I have the commander on my Dackle. So that is why I have the defense on her. And then the rush attack, I really just wanted that for when I attacked with all cavalry. And the only time I'm going to do that is when I run this hero and Dackle together. So I was able to utilize the rush attack here on this hero because I know that the only time I want to use this is when I'll be running it with my other better cavalry hero. If that makes any sense. So, eventually, I'm going to switch this hero out for the Faceless Knight cavalry hero. I would love to pronounce these people's names, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm terrible at pronouncing names, and I just don't want to slaughter them all night long. Jansen, I love him. I really do. Unfortunately, I really would want him at 100 to use him, and that's going to be a very long-term goal. And he's just a reflection hero for infantry, so he reflects damage onto the enemy that of the damage they've dealt to my infantry, as you can see here. So where he is right now at 60, he only reflects 5%. So that's not significant enough for me to run him right now. So that's why he doesn't have any skills. That's why he's kind of just sitting here waiting for more shards and me working him slowly up. So, good hero, but unfortunately not going to make the cut. We all know Faceless Knight is just sick. Best hero in the game at this point, in my opinion. It just gives you the attack and HP bonus, and it gives a quite large one. If I could get him to 100, that would be amazing. I got to the point where I got to 80s, and I was spending $1 or $2 pretty much every day for 2 or 3 months on him, just trying to get him, and they decreased the chances that you get of shards in his hero pack, and I was just kept on hitting summons and other things, and if you've noticed, you don't ever really get him in a summons. So I just felt like the game was cheating me, and I said, I'm not going to play your game no more. I'm not going to buy these packs. Unfortunately, I really wish I would and could spend the money to get him up to 100 or 120, but you know what? Not worth it. Not for the amount of money they want. I would have to spend a ridiculous amount of money to get that, and not willing to do it. So there's that. And if you notice, I'm just going over the heroes that are used in battle. Raffi, he's a wall hero. I would have to be in some major disarray to pull him off there and use him. I do have him at 5 stars thanks to Warplay, and he does really, really well for me. He really pushes my stats up high when it comes to defense. I really suggest him. I'm not terribly worried about being attacked. This KVK doesn't seem like there's very many castles that would attack me, so I'm not going to try and push him to 120 this KVK. So that's going to be more of a long-term thing. Rhinoc, I'm not going to beat that dead horse. He's super good. Dackle, the same thing. And then we got this siege hero here. Hey, he's good. He's good. I don't think that siege is quite there yet. I don't know what the game could or would do to make them relevant again. At one point, a majority of players were using siege a lot, and I think they've tried really hard to bring it back, but players are not biting. They made infantry and cavalry just so much better than them. So if they ever do, this guy could be really good. If they ever bring back siege strong, so that people would actually want to use them. I'd love to see Rise of Kings balance out the game more. I don't know what that looks like. I think they're afraid of depreciating people's investments in the game, because a lot of people have spent a lot of money to make their infantry just super good. And if they just crack a whip and make that all go away, they'll probably have a lot of people quitting. And the people that would be quitting are the people that give them the most funds. So that's my little theory on that. And then you got your another siege little goblin hero, Akichin. Sure, that little dude. The theory of him is awesome. The actual practical use of him doesn't work. Essentially, you deal a percentage of damage that was dealt to the siege that died. So you get like whatever percentage of the HP that was of the dead siege is dealt back to the enemy. So you're like, oh good, my stuff dies and you get a little bit of damage. Wonderful. Not that great. The shooter gallery hero, this guy I think could be really dope. I think that he could, if somebody got him pretty high, I think he definitely could change the game and bring cavalry closer to beating infantry, because they can just like go right through and do that direct damage, and they have the ability to do a lot more damage than the infantry does. So that guy, really good, but super hard to get. Chojin, he also is the same thing as the other goblin guy. He just does a better job of doing the reflect damage. And the Koro Noldu, I said I wasn't going to do that. Now, this guy is cool, but this is him maxed at 120. I should say that when you look at this is him maxed at 120 or 5 stars. Maybe 120 and 5 stars. I don't know. One of the two. 28% decrease on attack and defense is pretty sweet, but you've got to have a really awesome hero running alongside him. I could see you maybe running him on the wall with Ruffy, but he's just a huge investment just to make your enemy attack less strong, when you could just be bolstering your own defense or attack. So he is really good. He is really, really, really good, but it comes down to the investment. What do you have to invest to get this? And you can invest in Dolan, you could invest in Ren, you could invest in Faceless, you could invest in so many other heroes that will do just as good a job or even better, and you can get it for less. So I can't say that I suggest this hero, and I don't think that... Oh man, it's hard. It's really hard, because like, this would be a good comparison for me. You know the tank that we talked about earlier? I would have a really hard time deciding running this guy, the old wizard, Gandalf, or him. And I could be completely wrong. If you're a spender, somebody that has actual like experience with this guy, please send me a comment. I would love to hear what your knowledge is, because I don't have any practical use of this guy. I've never got to use him, and I haven't seen very many other people that have either. So somebody that has used him effectively or non-effectively, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. I really hope that you comment below. Let's see. I'm not even going to go into this this Siege hero, the crazy white-haired girl hero. And then we got Rua Anaga. Strictly speaking, I think that the new cavalry heroes are much better than her. She's an anti-war machine, which a majority of players have moved away from. Back in the day when everyone had like a billion frickin' war machines, she could have just done amazing. But a majority of players have moved away from that, and there's not very many in castles anymore. So she has a very high threshold for attack and damage, but I strictly think that the new Faceless Knight cavalry hero is strictly better. So, well, that kind of wraps up the heroes. I really hope that it helps. I would love to see Rise of Kings give us a chance to actually use these heroes and give us cheap or grindy ways to get these heroes. I don't make us earn it, sure, but give us a chance to play with them. Don't make it hard. I'm speaking to them like they watch my channel. Yeah, I think that these heroes were actually quite well done. I'm impressed. Now it's just see what their delivery system for the shards is.